Today I'm going to be discussing Siacoin and my opinions on it and if I think there's much of a future for the coin and the project itself. So I first heard about this project about 6 months back. I thought it was very, very interesting. Like when you talk about actual real use case for the blockchain besides like just the monetary value, this definitely has something that's a bit different and something that's really probably going to be essential when you talk about using a blockchain for real world things down the future. Um, I think Siacoin and Sia Tech will be it has a lot of potential. Like if you look at it on coin market cap or you look at its market cap compared to the others, unfortunately it has slipped down the ranks quite a lot over the past while. Pretty sure it was up in 13, 14 at one point. Um, but it was overhyped, overpumped, and unfortunately, it didn't last. Like it would have been nice if it kind of went, followed a trend of just general upwards, but just went way too high. No, it didn't went way too low. It's kind of seems to be settling back a little bit over the past couple of weeks, which is good for the price itself. One of the other issues though with the price is the fact that there's not very many use cases for it at the moment. So I mean, if you like I even seen on the Reddit, which was fair enough by the Reddit users, someone was um talking about their business wanted to switch their servers to using Sia as a sort of cloud storage mechanism for their customers, and people just say that not to trust it. It's just not far along, and that maybe down the line. So there is definitely that there's definitely a lot of honesty going around with the coin. I know it's just a community, but at least there's a decent amount of people not trying to overhype and over pump the coin after all this happened. Um, so actually, I should probably talk a little bit about what the concept of Siacoin is for anyone who doesn't know. So Siacoin is a sort of global cloud storage network where anyone, me, anyone, you could go and get a computer, put in maybe 5 6 hard drives. You could maybe spend, we'll say, 8 900 euro on a computer. That would definitely get you probably a pretty rubbish machine. The specs don't really have to be that good as long as there's just a lot of storage on your computer. So you get maybe 20 terabytes and a decent machine for that. And as long as it's kind of plugged in all day, you'll get paid and see it for people storing their encrypted files on your computer. And that's what's great about it as well, that your files are encrypted, so they do get saved. They are safely saved across the network too. And I think as well, not I think the files are actually broken up into like kind of partitions and particles, and they get spread across all different machines. So no one really has a chance to recover any of the files that you may potentially find very private to you, which is great. As well, you might ask, well, what if my computer goes down, and I'm storing your files in it? Does that mean you lose your files? And the answer to that is no. I think there's some sort of network, so if someone's computer goes down, your file will be actually already on multiple machines, so it's kind of spread out across different machines. And right now, it's not very profitable to be one of these people who run these machines. A lot of people who run these are literally just running them so that just to kind of get some early seed kind. Because like if you were to get 1,000 a month now or 10,000 a month now, and if SIA was to take off, you could literally be talking 100x, 200x in the future of this market cap. So the price would go up that amount too. Like you could see a couple of dollars Siacoin if it does take off. I still actually think that even if Sia doesn't take off, personally, I think that there will be some use cases for either this or a similar concept, because um, the actual model itself is very intelligent. Like the guy who's behind it, I can't actually remember his name, but he's really the team as well. Obviously, of course, they've all put in a great effort, and it's like it's very secure, it's very safe, it's very trustable that you won't lose your coins, and it seems to be I don't know the ins and outs of it, but it seems to be kind of getting close at what AWS can already provide. Now, I know there are some issues, like there's kind of some APIs for developers so that the developers can. There's a couple of developed so that you can link in backends to Sia and stuff like that. But I've actually had a quick look at them, and I do develop myself, and they didn't seem to be too great. So maybe that's something that they could maybe work on a little bit, because you know that will be key as well. If you want to be downloading and uploading and taking files and pushing to databases and even running websites with this. There's a lot of stuff to be done, but that's great because there's a lot of potential. And once these sort of things start moving, we could start seeing the price move again. Like there is a clear roadmap too. It should be somewhere here. It's probably in this post. Um, but anyway, the roadmap um, isn't what I'm really talking about, because it's clear what the roadmap is going to be, isn't it? It's going to be just the ultimate online cloud storage network that's developed on the blockchain, so that the likes of AWS and all these, no one actually controls the price besides those who are actually on the network. So again, it's like a cloud storage version of Bitcoin, and it could potentially be massive in the future, I think. Do I think it will be massive? I'm not really too sure. Like, you already have massive players, like you've the likes of AWS, you've Microsoft Azure, you've a lot of just big cloud storage, even the likes of Dropbox. Like, you know, these are all well established companies, and for see it to start impacting them, I don't know what they're gonna have to do. Like they're already on price point. They're already like miles away, as in Sia are way more competitive on price. You'll get way more for it. Obviously the trustworthiness of Sia is kind of like, because it's such a new project, there may be bugs, there could be a lot of potential issues, but so far they have a working product that works relatively well. I've set up some stuff with it. I actually did on Sia at one point, and I think I have it all sold now. That was after the whole debacle behind their uh, Obelisk, I think it's called. That was their CAS miner. So when they announced that, to be honest, I think it's a good thing in the long run. Personally, I think it's going to do well for Sia. But it was a total disaster in my opinion. Like they planned to sell somewhere around 2,000 units, and since then they've sold like is it 1,500 or 1,400 or something like that. Um, so I think they were hoping for more corporate investment into this. Um, and actually, no, sorry, the initial plan was to sell like I think it was 5 to 10,000, and this set a minimum at 2,000. But I think they're going to still fund this anyway with maybe venture capitalists or something like that. Um, but yeah, they seem to have really messed up with this, unfortunately. And but they're still fulfilling their promises. No one's losing their money. Everyone's getting these miners, and in the long run, the network should be a lot better and a lot faster. So I look forward to see what happens with this. Um, Again, it could have went better. It could have went a lot worse too. But it was just overhyped, and it was announced, believe it or not, when the price was around. I think it was, yeah, so it was around here. I think it was announced towards the very top, and the minute it got announced, boom, boom, boom. It was because it was all way overhyped, and people were going crazy about it, and yeah. Um, but yeah, one of the reasons why I actually left Siacoin was because of some of the developers. And maybe it was I'm kind of sort of regretting it now, even though the price has went down since I left. I think long term, even if it doesn't have the huge commercial success of competing with AWS, I still think it could be a good backup method for companies because it's very cheap, very efficient, very affordable, and I could still see a lot of use cases where it doesn't particularly compete 100% with AWS, and there'll be other areas and industries too that it could kind of look into. Um, but the reason why I left was because I just seen some of the developers just talking about different things, and they were talking about funding issues, as in they have a team of four, I think, or five, somewhere around that, and they were saying that they didn't have enough funding for those people to actually develop the project fully. And then one of the developers, or the he could have been community. I don't know. He was involved with the team somehow. He kind of randomly dropped in the comment section of a Reddit post, being like, "Oh, we were thinking about hard. One of the options could be to hard fork it," and it's just like to throw that up in the middle of just some random Reddit post is kind of like, whoa, and that's a pretty big deal not to just like throw out there, and there was no consulting with anyone or anything about that. So I think a lot of people got kind of scared with that and thought like, oh, if they can just like drop a hard fork to self fund themselves or do this or do that, are they kind of taking too much control or too much power? But since then, they have actually proven that they are trustworthy, that they do go by community feedback. It's not just sort of a thing where they run the show and that's it. Because obviously, without the people actually hosting on the SIA network, and the people investing in it, then there isn't going to be a future for it. So I think I'll probably actually end up investing a bit back into SIA again. Like another red flag could be the fact that if you look at um, the other companies who've tried to do the same, like StorageX and Filecoin and all them, none of them have actually achieved even what C have achieved, but they've all seemed like I've seen StorageX and I just looked at it and thought, it's been way overhyped. Like they don't even have a product that was exactly working all that great, and I don't know. I didn't invest in it. I'm glad I didn't because I think they've pretty much shut down now, which is sad because I do want to see one of these succeed. And there's these talks of Filecoin too, which has been going around for a very long time, and it's like I just I don't. There seems to be way too much corporate investment, and I think they could be doing an ICO. I'm not too sure about that one, but I don't know. Long term, I don't see Filecoin um, or StorageX really making a big play. I think SIA could. Will it? I don't know. It's very, very hard to tell. If they had proper funding, if they maybe got some venture capitalists involved, they could potentially, expand their team a lot more, have a lot going on. I think at the current size of their team, it's going to be very difficult for them. But who knows what's going to happen in the long run. Um, I'm definitely no expert on SIA. I get how it works, but I don't know whether what the price is going to be. I haven't even looked at the inflation rate and how much Siacoin is printed every day. Um, so there'll be a couple of factors that I'm going to have to look into before I reinvest again. But sizable market cap, 254 million, which is not got to compared to Bitcoin, Ethereum, even like Ripple or Litecoin, but it's still like it's still decent size. A lot of interest in it, a lot of investors in it. There's a lot of writing on it, and we're gonna see where it goes. And as in like if this was ever to become the size of AWS, or had that much stuff going on, I think the price would be astronomical. I could see 25-50 billion dollar market cap on that alone. Like if you think about Amazon as a service, as a company, I think they're close to 500 billion market cap, and I personally like the amount of websites that actually run AWS is shocking. Like there's just so many of them. So yeah, um, I think that's all I kind of have to say on this. I hope it goes well. I really do. Like it's really cementing in that the blockchain can work and that it will it could revolutionize and change the world if this does become one of the projects that does work. Um, but other than that, thanks for watching.